DirtTrax is sponsored by Can-Am. The ride says it all. Polaris, the ultimate in off-road vehicles. Hatfield-McCoy Trails, where hundreds of miles of off-road adventure await you today. And by Yamaha ATVs and side-by-side vehicles. Real world tough.
The word tactical gets thrown around a lot these days. It seems like just about anything with flat black paint has been described as tactical at one time or another. So it was no surprise to see Yamaha continue their tactical lineup of flat Grizzly and all-new Viking models in 2014. To underscore this tactical persona even further, Yamaha introduced these models to a mix of both off-road and firearms-related media at one of the US's premier firearms training facilities, Gunsight in Paulden, Arizona. I think there's two questions that really need to be answered before this media introduction setup can actually make any sense. First, just what is a tactical Grizzly and Viking? And second, who does Yamaha think is going to be buying these things in the first place?
I honestly think the Special Edition Viking and Grizzlies should appeal to anybody. It's really for everybody. I think it's awesome. I think it's cool. They've done a really good job. Again, research, getting back to what colors people like, what graphic schemes they want. You know, this is several years in the process for us. This isn't something we came up last week. And we don't do something just for one consumer. I mean, you gotta have broad appeal. You gotta appeal to the masses and make sure that someone goes in and says, that thing looks really cool, whether or not it has the word tactical on it. And he may never shot a gun in his life, and that doesn't matter. As long as he likes that vehicle, he likes the accessories we've included with it as a special edition model, so much the better. So we want to appeal to the masses for sure with all of our products, but we also want to give them something special every once in a while, and the Special Edition Viking and Grizzly and the tactical black color scheme really does deliver on those fronts.
So it's pretty clear the tactical nature of the Grizzly and Viking SE models is limited strictly to their appearance. Now, to a purist, this may be a point of contention. To me, it's a breath of fresh air. Yamaha isn't trying to suggest that the flat black paint and tactical nameplate automatically turn the operator into some kind of mercenary. In fact, it's quite the contrary. The tactical SE Viking includes a long list of features that will be extremely appealing to any recreational rider.
Well, the Special Edition Viking, I mean, I guess if you break it down and you want to know what's special about it, you start with the color and graphics. You know, the tactical black color scheme, cast aluminum wheels are a really nice looking addition to this thing. It makes it really kind of pop. It comes with a sun top. Some of our stock models do as well, but not all of them. So the Special Edition has a sun top on it. Over fenders, you know, for guys who wants additional element protection, I think, you know, one of the things that's understated, but it really goes a long way towards additional accessories if someone wants to add them to the Viking, is the bed accessory wheel that comes with the Special Edition model. And again, I think it adds to the appeal, and it's kind of a kickstart in the accessory direction for some of these folks, and in a good way though. It kind of gets their creative juices flowing, and they can customize the vehicle the way they want to.
Likewise, the tactical Grizzly model is not targeted at wannabe mall ninjas. Of utmost importance is the fact that its looks are actually quite deceiving. It may appear to be the same as a 2013 Grizzly, but underneath that plastic bodywork, it's undergone some substantial changes.
The problem, if you will, with the Grizzly is because they look a lot alike, the 2013 to the 2014 model, you don't know everything that has gone on under the skin of this vehicle. It's actually, I won't say completely different, but it's vastly changed as far as what's happened up front with the geometry and the width and even the engine. And actually, in an effort to bring it in compliance with EPA emissions, they took the opportunity to dig into that motor and really get some more performance out of that 686 single that's really, for all intents and purposes, bulletproof. But again, it's so much different, and you really have to get on it. Again, you look at it and you really can't tell. If you put them side by side, maybe you can see it's a little wider. It's about 2 inches wider, but the suspension settings had all been changed. They've been tweaked. You know, the geometry up front has been moved around to accommodate the wider stance in front. The EPS settings have been optimized to now measure in 3 spots. Not only the input from the rider, but the speed. Again, it tapers off at higher speeds, and the 4-wheel drive setting you're in. So it knows if you're in 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive, or 4-wheel drive with diff lock. All those things working together, it improves it. You take one single trail ride in this and you're like, wow, this thing works better. I couldn't believe, I can't believe they improved upon what they did, but they did, and that's their job. And I tip my hat to them. Kudos to our engineers and our design guys for for really digging in and taking small excuses to get into a good vehicle and make it even better again. So they look the same, but you really got to drive the 2014 to see how much better it is.
The changes underneath the Grizzly's plastic have made a huge improvement in how it rides and handles. I was expecting only a minimal improvement, but have been very impressed at how flat it corners and how plush it rides. Don't be fooled by its unchanged exterior. Underneath it all, this is a very different beast.
DirtTrax is sponsored by Brimstone, where the journey is your reward.
Even though Yamaha's 2014 tactical Grizzly and Viking models aren't targeted only at shooting sport enthusiasts, they did take this opportunity to incorporate some tactical firearms training into this ATV intro event. At first, it seemed like a strange pairing, but it didn't take long to see how these two sports are connected both within the industry and at the consumer level.
Why is an ATV manufacturer out of the firearms training facility? I mean, like, it doesn't really compute, it doesn't really connect. Why? Well, it starts with our shooting sports partners. I mean, we've been invited out here before, independent of any kind of ATV riding. But you get down here outside of Paulden, Arizona, in Chino Valley, and we're close to Prescott, and there's all kinds of trails. There's National Forest, Prescott National Forest. Riding on the Gunstock property alone, there's all kinds of off-road riding opportunities. You got to be careful because there's ranges. I mean, safety, like in power sports, is utmost priority for the guys that are handling firearms at gun site. And even that parallel kind of brings us together. We want to be safe first and foremost. So we've been out here before, and a couple of folks at Yamaha are like, man, how can we get out here for an ATV event? And it was not too long later when our product development team let us in on the fact that they're coming with some special edition models that had the word tactical in it. And we saw it as a great opportunity to kind of partner with our shooting sports industry, outdoor partners, and come out and bring our power sports media friends, but also our shooting and outdoors and hunting media friends, and kind of have them feed off each other.
Well, Gunsight is a special place. It's the very first commercial shooting school in the United States. It really set the precedent for everything else that came after it, established by Colonel Cooper. And we are about self-defense, and we teach ordinary citizens to be confident and well-trained with the use of firearms. Why come to Gunsight? Well, first of all, we're the premium gun school in the United States. Secondly, I feel that you need to understand not only your weapon, but you need to understand yourself and your ability to handle that weapon. And with all those three things, you will have the confidence to face whatever you have to face, and hopefully never, with a handgun or a rifle or a shotgun.
We've had 3 full days of training here at Gunsight with world-class instructors like Chris, who, over the years, has trained everybody from ordinary citizens with no prior firearms experience to U.S. Army Special Forces teams that use the training they learned here to defend their country every day. As a recreational competition shooter, I thought I knew a thing or two about how to shoot under stressful situations, but I was still looking forward to further developing those skills with the help of such knowledgeable guys like these ones.
If you want to do that, 1 minute, too quick.
Yeah.
Okay? Yeah.
During my 3 days of training here at Gunsight, the instructors broke down all of my bad habits and retrained me how to be a more confident, alert, and accurate shooter using correct shooting techniques, many of which I'd never even considered. Just a few of the things we learned were how to efficiently draw from a holster, close range shooting with a pistol, long range shooting with a rifle, using a Viking to move and engage multiple targets with a pistol, and moving on foot with a rifle, shooting at medium distances. The training at Gunsight really does cover all the bases.
Why do we feel that this is an important skill set that you should have if you own a firearm? Everybody has to understand that most situations with a firearm don't involve shooting. There are plenty of problems that are solved by just the possession of a firearm by a homeowner or a property owner, just by the mere fact that they possessed the firearm at the time they needed it, but without necessarily shooting. So I think the greatest thing that people need to take away is, one, when do you actually shoot and when don't you shoot, and have the confidence in knowing you have the ability to do it, which will build up your ability to determine that. instead of just being a random person that picks up a handgun and just decides, oh, you're on my property, maybe I'll shoot.
As a Canadian, I have a limited ability to practice the skills I learned at Gunsight. But while we were there, having the instructors teach me how to respond, then being able to immediately practice those skills in a realistic environment was helpful, confidence inspiring, and definitely a lot of fun.
DirtTrax is sponsored by Super ATV, the industry leader in aftermarket parts and accessories for the off-road market.
Polaris has single-handedly been responsible for creating more new segments in the ATV and side-by-side industry in the past decade than any other manufacturer. Their willingness to take risks on vehicles with no proven track record has been a large factor in their overwhelming market domination. But have they gone too far with the Ace? By industry-accepted definitions, this is not an ATV, but because it only has one seat, by literal definition, it can't be a side-by-side. So just what the heck is it, and is it any good? Because this vehicle is designed to appeal to such a broad range of users, I thought it'd be good to get some help answering these questions, so I brought in some backup.
Even with an extensive background in both racing and recreational riding, I can honestly say I have never experienced anything quite like driving the Ace. And to say I was skeptical about it would be an understatement. A quick look at its spec sheet, focusing mostly on its power plant, had me slightly disappointed. The Ace's 327cc dual overhead cam 4-valve EFI engine is certainly sophisticated, but is a little on the small side, or so I thought.
For anyone who doesn't like looking up ATV specs, the Ace's ProStar mill produces 32 horsepower, which is as much as the original Sportsman 500, and I don't recall anybody ever complaining that it was underpowered. Bottom end pull is a little soft, but builds to a strong mid-range. 40 miles per hour seems to be this engine's comfort zone, but if you hold down the loud pedal, 50 miles per hour is achievable and is more than enough for average trail riding.
The Ace chassis and suspension are a buffet of parts from other Polaris models. Its McPherson strut front end is from the classic Sportsman. The chassis is based loosely on the longer 2-up Sportsman XP models, and the rear suspension seems to be some sort of variation of the RZR 570 setup. Obviously, the rest of the Ace is all new, including the driver compartment, roll cage, plastics, racks, and bumpers.
Despite its small physical stature, there's actually a decent amount of upper body and legroom inside the Ace. An adjustable steering wheel and adjustable seat mean it can be tailored to suit a wide variety of riders. Ergonomics are good, save for one annoying issue. In a traditional side-by-side, the center drive shaft runs between the seats and doesn't interfere with the rider's feet. But the rider is sitting on top of the drive shaft in the Ace, and I definitely found it got in the way.
What made this more noticeable is the brake pedal is positioned more rearward than the throttle. This means I had to physically lift my foot up and back in order to reach the brake. It seems to me, simply moving the brake pedal forward could solve this problem entirely. Luke and I both agree, the rest of the Ace is ergonomically excellent. With such a strange combination of suspension components, we had no idea what to expect from the Ace in terms of ride quality.
And again, the Ace pleasantly surprised us. It's not as plush as a Razor, but it never felt stiff to the point of being uncomfortable. Only the biggest hits would unsettle the chassis, and I, at no time, felt like I was being tossed around. Furthermore, because the Ace has the same general footprint of an ATV, it was far easier to maneuver around obstacles you'd be forced to go over in a 50-inch Razor.
There's a very good reason that as side-by-sides get bigger and faster, they also get wider. And with no ability to lean in the corners, you are completely relying on the vehicle itself to stay on its wheels. The Ace is narrower than any other ride-in vehicle we've ever driven, so the assumption could be made that it would be tippy. But again, that would be wrong. The Ace stays surprisingly flat in the corners. It's very hard to actually break the back end loose and get sideways, most likely due to a lack of wheel strutting horsepower. But even when it's completely hooked up, it rarely lifts its inside wheel. Combine this with a very positive on-center feel from the steering wheel, and you've got a vehicle that inspires confidence in nearly all conditions.
Now that we understand what the Ace is made of and how it works, we need to figure out what it is and who it's for. Understanding what type of rider a vehicle is designed to suit is the most important aspect of its evaluation. Clearly, the Ace is not intended for hairy-chested horsepower junkies who want to brag about how fast they can go or how high they can jump. So if that's you, forget about the Ace.
There's a growing number of people out there, maybe young riders or side-by-side owners better halves, who don't like riding an ATV, but also don't like being a passenger. In the past, they really didn't have any other options. The Ace offers all the benefits of driving a side-by-side, the relaxed driving experience, comfortable riding position, and additional safety of a roll cage, in a package that's not intimidating in size or power.
So back to my original question. What is it?
Well, it's a totally new idea that's super fun to drive and solves a number of problems not currently addressed by anything else in the industry. But is it any good?
Well, it works exactly as intended. It's already well loved by all the people it was intended for, and it's opened up a whole new segment in the industry. In my opinion, that's not just good, that's great.
DirtTrax is sponsored by Triton Trailers. Know it, own it, haul it.
Few improvements make the same tangible and visual benefits that a new set of tires and rims will. They truly are one of the best upgrades that you can do. When upgrading your tire and rim package, most buyers go bigger. It's just a fact. And when you increase your tire diameter, increase width, and increase rotating mass, you throw a big wrench into your vehicle's power delivery, more particularly your clutching setup. The clutches on your ATV and side-by-side are very sensitive to tire changes, specifically when it comes to the rotational mass or the tire diameter. So when you make a change to your tires and rims, you should also make a change to your clutching setup. Clutching seems very technical, but thanks to Dalton Professional Clutch Components, it doesn't have to be. Most riders who can change a belt or install wheels and tires will be able to adjust their clutches with the proper tools and quality parts like these from Dalton. Each install is different because every rider chooses a unique wheel and tire combination to suit their riding style. This means that the number of possible clutching combinations could be endless. Because Dalton knows each rider is different and each vehicle delivers power to the ground differently, they test, and retest. When you buy a kit, it's designed for the vehicle you ride, with weight options and spring choices to account for both riding style and wheel weight and diameter. Like this DBM 1000 kit with the optional black-violet spring that's used for 29.5-inch tires and larger. On our Maverick 1000, we have a whole lot of power available on tap, but when we changed to 32-inch tires, we altered the power delivery significantly, and I'm not willing to accept less than what I know this vehicle is capable of. The true test is not me telling you, it's me showing you just how strong this beast feels after the Dalton kit is installed. Power feels far more precise, stronger across the power band, with increased RPM on engagement, making it snappier on the throttle tip in, and far more flickable. And that's saying a lot when you're riding on 32s. Seeing that we installed the biggest and baddest mud tires we could possibly find, it wouldn't be a true testament to this clutch kit if we didn't go out and get a little muddy. And yes, this clutch kit will seriously improve the performance of this vehicle in the mud. Rotating the increased tire and wheel mass takes power. Your clutches deliver that power, much like the gears in a car or truck. Without the clutch kit, this mud would feel like we're stuck in third gear at low speed. But thanks to Dalton's tailored kit, we're down, dirty, and easily flanging some mud. Playing with the clutches on your vehicle does not mean you have to be a rocket scientist. It doesn't mean you have to be super technical. It just means that you have to want the best performance possible out of your ATV or side-by-side. And with Dalton, that's precisely what you're going to get. Significantly cheaper than you may have thought possible.
DirtTrax Television has been sponsored by Polaris, the ultimate in off-road vehicles. Can-Am, the ride says it all. MBRP Performance Exhaust, making power with MBRP. And by Arctic Cat, share our passion.
If you enjoyed this video, post a comment and let us know what you think. Then, click this link to subscribe and that link for more great videos from DirtTrax TV.